cost of higher education is constantly increasing, and so is student debt. What can be done? Here now to talk about the problem is Ohio University President Roderick McDavis. President McDavis, thanks for being here with us tonight.
Always great to be here.
Now, what is the university doing to hold down the cost of getting a college degree?
Well, we're working on trying to do at least three things, if not more. First and foremost, reduce spending. Look for ways that we can cut back on the amount of money that we spend on things that are not focused specifically on the academic enterprise of the university or delivering academic programs. Secondly, try to raise private money to provide more scholarships for students so that helps those students especially who can't afford to pay for a college education. We provide them with the wherewithal to be able to get the education. And third is equally as important as the first two, Katie. What we're really trying to do is to approach the state legislature to try to get more funding, because we are a public university, and as a public university we think we're in a partnership with the state of Ohio to offer public education for Ohio's students. And so as a result, if we can get more money from the state, that also helps us to keep the cost down.
Besides those three things you just told us, is there anything else that you're throwing around, ideas to help students out? Well,
we continually look for ways that we can help reduce the cost. And so those are just three of the early ideas that we've come up with. But we're going to keep looking, for other ways that we can help to reduce the cost of higher education. We understand the impact that raising tuition has on students and their parents in terms of their budgets. And so we don't like to do it, but it's one of the ways that we keep the quality of the education that students receive at a very high level. And there is a value to a higher education that we think is critically important, and so we want to try to keep the quality of what we're providing so that we keep the promise that we made to students when they come to provide them with that high quality education.
All right, and why impose a tuition increase and then turn around and use revenue to offer more financial aid to students?
Well, two separate pieces. The tuition really is for the entire institution in terms of helping to pay for all of the various areas of the institution. Okay. But there is some of that tuition increase that we think we should put out to help students who otherwise would not be able to pay for the increase in the college education. So we're focusing on taking a portion of the tuition increase and providing more scholarships for those students who need to have additional income to pay for their college education.
All right, and to switch subjects real quick, how do you feel about the proposal now before the legislature to give student trustees a vote?
Well, I'm not really in favor of it. And the reason I'm not in favor of it has nothing to do with whether I think students ought to have a voice in the decision-making process of a university, because I clearly think they should. What I'm concerned about is the pressure that we put on students when we put that vote in their hands. The best example that I can give you is if students had had the vote the day we voted on an increase in tuition, if they had voted yes, what kind of pressure would they have been under 2 minutes after that meeting ended and for that weekend and well into the week? So I'm concerned about the undue pressure we're going to put on students if we put the vote in their hands. Already on our board, our student trustees have a great deal of input into the decision-making process. I would rather for them to have the voice, but not necessarily the vote, because the vote creates a very negative situation that we could put students in.
Absolutely. And just briefly, what about the Spring Fest problem? What's your answer to eliminating that problem?
Well, I think we took a big step with Mill Fest. It was a very quiet fest. We had a positive weekend, that particular weekend. I think our students respond well when we set the expectation, we set the standard for behavior, and we say to them what they should and should not do. They respond very, very well. I was very pleased with the outcome of Mill Fest, and I'm looking forward to Peaceful Fest next year.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much again for being here with us today.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.